What is up, Fantasyland? We're back for another Thursday tailgate between 2 and 4 NFC monsters, if you want to call them that. We're hoping for some points tonight, like Dan and I were talking about. But we got a big one tonight. We got a lot to cover. We're gonna do a quick review of Week 6, anything that stands out. We're gonna jump into Week 7, and we got our tight end specialists for tonight. Let's get to it.
Go district, you know the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text? That trash offer's the best? You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What is up, Fantasyland? Make sure you tune into our previous shows. We've rocked some serious shows this week. Dan, we're on number 4 already. Another monster guest tonight. Why don't you walk this man in proper, my friend?
All right, yeah. So let's welcome Andrew Cooper, also known as Koopa Fiasco, or just Coop for short. And Coop, you do a lot of stuff for Fantasy Alarm, also for Bettor's Network, as I understand. And definitely you are known as the tight end guru, the godfather of the yin and yang tight end. So fill us in. What do you got going lately these days with Fantasy Alarm and also the Bettor Network?
A lot going on, man. As 1912 points out, getting hitched. Got married this week, dude.
Yes. Congrats, brother. Congrats.
Yeah, got the black ring to match the outfit tonight. You know,
there you
that's
go.
how I roll. Yeah, there you go. No? Yeah, so got that going on. All my content over at Fantasy Alarm. That's where I live. I post everything on my Twitter, so easiest way to find that content, just check my Twitter. And then I'm doing a show with the Front Yard Fantasy gang every morning, 7 to 10 weekdays on Bettor Network. Download the app or check it out on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube. We have a blast, man. We talk a lot about football. I don't know if you guys know those Front Yard Fantasy guys. A lot of nonsense, of course, but we have fun. So definitely come check us out, hang out with us. I know Toronto Dave has been in there. A few of the guys from the chat here have been there. It's a good time. So pop in the mornings, dude. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome. So how many days has it been now that you've been hitched up here? Are we up to a week yet, or not yet? Not quite.
Not
yet?
Even, dude. I got married on Saturday.
Damn.
Yeah. So
Damn, fresh off.
Pretty fresh, man. Pretty fresh. Already started wearing sweatpants every day, and
Yes.
told my friends I can't hang out anymore. So.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hanging out with friends right now, am I not? So it's always good to do a podcast with your boys. That's the beautiful thing, dude. I've known Dan for a long time. Me and JD, get a lot since the first time we jumped on a stream, dude. It was easy peasy. So that's why when you guys asked me, I got plans for tonight, and I was like, yeah, I can come on, hang with the boys. Let's go.
Awesome. Yeah.
Especially
your fourth time?
Yeah, I was gonna say fourth or fifth. Yeah.
I'm around. You guys say you want to talk tight ends. I was like, yeah, I got time. I got time for the boys.
Yeah, and I mean that's kind of why I gave the show, tight end tormented, because I feel like a lot of rosters this year have been tight end tormented.
Yeah, it goes, dude.
Sure.
Dan and I can only do so much with the whispering. You know what I mean? We're doing our best. But hey, we got new info for you guys.
I got to give props to you though. I mean, you are even deeper into it than I am. I am definitely. I look at a lot of the same stats as you do, and I'm have plenty of experience with it. But you dive even so much deeper. So
don't say that though, man. Don't say that, because I enjoy your content, dude. And no joke, man, I pop over and you have so many dynasty takes. I'm not I do dynasty stuff, but like I don't get as deep in the dynasty as you guys, man. So like there are 100% things that I take from you, and I'm sure you take stuff from me, and then that's how it goes. This is a community. It'd be ridiculous to try and do it all on your own, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
with so many smart people. Like think about like our friend Linda, right? Like because she gets so deep in the kickers, I don't have to do that. You know what I mean? It's like for people trying to do too much at once, you run yourself too thin. So we're a squad out here, my dude. So don't sell yourself short. Never do that, Dan. You're a beast.
There we go. All right. Appreciate that, man. But before we start talking about tight ends, we got to talk about the hot topic of the day. Just blowing up on Twitter and everywhere else this afternoon. Rumors swirling around Elijah Moore and his personal day, and apparently even in the 2 hours since I wrote this, his personal day has turned into a trade request. So what do you see going on there, Coop? What do we got? Is he crazy to be asking for a trade? 17 games into his career or whatever it is.
I'll tell you,
he's actually played.
This isn't our dad's league, right? Like where it's like you get drafted to a team and that's your team forever, and like you got to literally like retire and then hope that Steve DiBartolo can come and scoop you up on the one team that has their own plane, right? That's what it used to be like, right? Like the 49ers and the Cowboys are the only team that could convince people. Like now it's like you shoot your way out of town if you don't feel good. If you give, DeAndre Hopkins kind of set the tone on that for wide receivers, and now AJ Brown just did it. Robbie Anderson Robbie Anderson was more of like Matt Rule decided, I'll just bring all the guys I coached at college into one team and then we'll win, right? That's how this works. So I can see why Robbie Anderson went, but Elijah Moore surprising me. They have to be disappointed by that, right? Him trying to escape at this point, and Denzel Mims is trying to get out of there too. So.
Yeah, that's a crazy thing. I mean, I think that might have something to do with why Elijah's trying to get out. I mean, he's seen what's happened to Denzel. You don't get the targets, you don't get, the playing time. All of a sudden, you've lost all your leverage. He doesn't want to be in a position where he's lost his leverage. Not that I can totally agree with somebody, just having a bad game and then this is where they go. But you got to admit, things are looking a little shaky for Zach Wilson over his first 16 games.
Yeah, pretty rough, man. And Elijah Moore coming into this week, I know that this week he kind of got pseudo-benched or whatever it was, but he was like a top 5 guy in routes and run. So it wasn't like he wasn't playing before this week. So
right,
must be some pretty ugly behind-the-scenes stuff going on for him to try to escape that situation.
Yeah. I mean, he's running free a lot, and he's just not getting targeted, and that's got to be tough.
Which is the worst situation.
Right. Yeah, and I totally get where these guys are coming from too. I mean, you have a very limited time to prove that you deserve that second contract. I mean, he's already a second round pick, so he's not getting that first round money. He's getting that second round money, and then if he's not getting the targets to prove what he can do for a second contract, he's gonna get lowballed. And it as Ferris Bueller once said, life moves pretty fast. An NFL career moves even faster.
And it's also not like they're not launching the ball. Right now they're 6th in the league with pass attempts. So a lot higher at home than on the road, but still at least they're chucking the ball. But questions are, why is it going? You guys think it's just like a squeaky wheel type of scenario here, or do you think he actually wants to get the F out of there?
So yeah, if they had kept the consistent usage the way they had the first 5 games where he was playing every snap, then I would think that was the case. But the fact that he got benched, I mean, it could very well be that they had a big disagreement behind the scenes, not seeing eye to eye. So I don't know. Pretty scary situation though, for sure. Yeah,
for sure. So we'll look to see where that goes. I think obviously there's going to be a lot more chapters written. Some of them maybe even pretty soon. But moving on to another wide receiver who's made an impressive debut, just like Elijah Moore did last year, and Tyquan Thornton. I guess I shouldn't call last week his debut. He did get 2 targets back in week 5, but he expanded out to 8 opportunities, 5 targets, 3 rushes, got a pair of touchdowns. Any thoughts on him, Coop, moving forward?
Well, I have a lot of thoughts on him. If you look behind me, you'll see Patriots, Red Sox, Celtics. I'm wearing the Marquise Colston jersey tonight.
Yes.
As the tight on behalf of the Saints game tonight, and because I am a big tight end guy, this jersey means a lot to me. His rookie year, I went out, grabbed him because I saw he had tight end eligibility on Yahoo incorrectly. And he ended up being the PPR tight end 1 ahead of Antonio Gates, ahead of Tony Gonzalez, like serious players, right? So I grabbed this jersey in celebration, but I am a Patriots fan. And, I know that there's a stigma out there. I have myself. Patriots not good at drafting wide receivers. It's been that way going back to Chad Jackson, N'Keal Harry, the most recent example. But, so people automatically discount this player. But if the Chiefs came out in the second round, drafted the fastest wide receiver in the combine, people would be singing a different tune. What if, for once, this team accidentally did draft a good wide receiver? You have to keep that in consideration. It could be the case that this guy happens to be fast and also good. And my God, did he look fast on that end around this week? He caught a touchdown and ran for a touchdown. If that's what they're going to do with this player, to me, that's a must-add situation. I added him in a bunch of leagues. I've been tweeting about it. And it's not homerism for me because, I'm a level-headed, down-to-earth guy. I know what the Patriots are, right? But if you're going to have low volume, give me explosiveness. And that's what we got here. And I think that, honestly, at this point, Nelson Aguilar is probably dust. It's that field stretcher role belongs to this player. So I'm in. I don't know. Are you guys, you feeling it? You feeling good about it? It's hard to feel great about it, but you're feeling good about it.
All you have to do is look right behind me, right back here, and you can see how I feel about it. Taekwon was great at Baylor. Really enjoyed watching him play, and you have to think, even with Belichick, sooner or later, even by accident, he has to get a wide receiver pick right, correct?
Right. It's the gambler's fallacy, though, to say, that we've hit black so many times in a row, it has to be red eventually. But maybe this one time, right?
Maybe one time, yeah. As long as his entire process isn't completely screwed up. But I think this is the right player, right time. That speed definitely plays no matter where he goes. And, he's not like a lot of those speed guys who just really don't know how to play football. He knows how to play football, and that's what you want to see.
Think about the wide receiver hits for the Patriots, right? You have Jacoby Myers, who is undrafted.
Yeah.
You have Julian Edelman, didn't even play wide receiver in college, right? Wes Welker was a punt returner for the Dolphins that we traded them nothing for. And then you have Randy Moss. We traded for Randy Moss, and the first season he played, he scored 23 touchdowns, set the record. And then we just decided we were done with that. That's Patriots football right there. So I don't know. But I'm rooting for the guy, obviously, and I think he's worth an ad. If he's going to play 40 or 60-something snaps, that's enough for me to move him
in. Yep, for sure. And as Wheeler pointed out, I did manage to sneak him out of Wheeler's grasp just before he blew up, so was happy to do that. Wheeler was one of the few other people in my dynasty leagues who was actually on Thornton early. Yeah,
Wheeler's the man, and also anytime you can stick it to him, that's awesome.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So I had tons of him in dynasty. I did actually have him in a couple spots in redraft, but this past week I went out there and I filled up the rest of my redraft, and I was not shy about my.
No, we got him in our main in the FFPC. We got him off waivers right then.
That's right. Yes, we did. That was one of the many leagues where I made the move and got him. And usually only cost me about 15% or so of my fab. That's something I'll definitely spend on a player like that.
Sure.
So. All right, let's move on to Wan'Dale Robinson. He made his return to action last week on a very starved for talent wide receiver core with the Giants. What do you think, Coop? How about Wan'Dale? What are you seeing for him moving forward?
Yeah, so on one hand, clearly you know that they have the wide receiver spots open, and there's the roles open, and they can't just be rolling out Richie James, as cool as his hair is, and guys of that ill, David Sills and all that. But on the flip side, the one thing that does concern me is that Wan'Dale Robinson is not a very big player. And we saw it with Rondale Moore that in our minds in fantasy football, especially dynasty-wise, right, we look at what they did in college. We look at their RAS score, and we look at their speed scores and all that. And in our mind, they should be out there every play. But in the mind of these coaches, blocking is hugely important, especially when your offense revolves around Saquon Barkley. So with a guy like Rondell Moore, like if it was just about fantasy football, Max Williams would have never played it at all. But because of blocking and everything like that, they were basically using Max Williams on half the snaps, using Rondell Moore on half the snaps. With this player, when he only plays 15 snaps last week, that scares me a little bit. Like Tyquan Thornton at least played 40. 15, I can't trust this guy in any of my lineups at this point. I'm willing to add him. I had him ranked after Thornton in my priorities. I'm willing to add him because of the targets being available, but I need to see this guy play a full snap share. That's where I'm at with this guy. He's super exciting. Obviously, he's owned in every Dynasty league. Like, you're not just going to go out and get him in Dyno. But in redraft, make sure that you have a spot for him on the bench. If you're trusting him this week, that's a pretty risky game. But, some people like to go wild. I don't know. How do you guys feel? Are you wheels up on Wandale, or where your thoughts at?
JD, you got thoughts on Wandale?
Yeah, I mean, I got super high ownership, my most owned player on the FFPC. The thing is with both of these offenses that we're talking about, I mean, opportunities there. These guys are rookies. That's what you want. The problem with both of these guys is they're both in bottom 5, throwing teams in the NFL. So it kind of, again, kind of limits the ceiling probably, but we're very early in the careers, barely got to start from these guys. So the fact that we have flashes and opportunity in week 7, I'm excited for these guys. I've got some shares of both in Dynasty as well. We'll see what happens, man. In New England, you've got Mac Jones, who should be back soon, and it'd be nice to have him have that. I mean, like you said, Myers is undrafted, man. Like as excited as it is, and he gave you a wide receiver 8 week a couple weeks ago. It's still, you're not expecting much. He's like a filler. You want him as your wide receiver 5 or 6, not starting for you. So if you can get a starter out of one of these two guys, I think that's exciting for fantasy land, especially if both can hit.
Yeah, for real. Like if you're struggling, you got to add both. Like on waivers this week, I added both guys in different spots. One team I added them both. Like, you got to make these moves. Now's the time. And to put in perspective on the rookies, go back, look at Odell Beckham. Dude didn't even play to start the season. He was banged up, just like Wandale. He came out, started very slow, and then it was wheels up because he was the only guy in town. Talk about being the only guy in town. Kenny G's not playing. They said Kadarius Toney's not close, right? So, I mean, why can't this guy run away with it?
Dan, let me throw in a couple. We got some good questions from the chats, and I've been holding them. Let me throw a couple quick ones. We'll do rapid fire. Cal Pitts or Taysom Hill this week?
Or maybe Pitts, dude. Taysom Hill, like I said in my weekly rankings, there's no way to compare a tight end that has 1 target on the season to real tight ends. If you want to start Taysom Hill in your leagues, absolutely go ahead and do that. But you're on your own. Right? Like, I can't make that call for you because it's such a high ceiling, low floor proposition. If it's a standard league, they actually definitely start Taysom Hill. Any other format, I'm starting Kyle Pitts.
Sometimes if you're a huge underdog, Dan, maybe you throw in the Taysom Hill. Yeah, you got nothing to lose. I've got one team like that where I got nothing to lose. I'm throwing them in just for fun.
That's exactly what I was going to say. If you're feeling hopelessly outgunned, then Taysom's probably your pick. But otherwise, you got to go Pitts. You
got to remember, though, Pitts has literally the 3rd highest target share of any tight end. 23% target share. They just haven't thrown a ton. Joe Flacco currently has pretty much the same number of pass attempts as Mariota. He got benched 3 weeks ago. So there's a real possibility that at a certain point, 23% of the targets, if they throw a decent amount, is a lot of targets. So I don't necessarily think that Taysom Hill has some crazy upside well and above Kyle Pitts. But again, he loves to prove everybody wrong.
Anything on our boy Andrew Schellenberg's favorite tight end, Hunter Henry?
Yeah, man. Last 3 weeks, dude, he's played every snap except 3. So the week before last, I don't have it in front of me, but I know that he played every snap except 1. Last week he played 58 to 60. Like, with the Bailey Zappi offense, especially with Jonnu Smith a little banged up, he's got a better role. Thing is, Mac Jones might be back, but I don't think they're going to go back to what they were doing before. I think Hunter Henry now falls into that fairly safe option, more of a half PPR than a full PPR option. But, the one thing he does best, he lines up at wide receiver. He beats guys in man-to-man. That's a skill that he has, one that Kyle Pitts desperately needs. Cole Kmet needs it. Evan Ingram is missing it. he has that. He can beat guys one-on-one. So Hunter Henry, always an interesting spot if you're desperate.
86% snap share, 7 targets last week.
What did you say his snap share was?
86% and 66% routes run.
I thought Henry was higher than that. I have him at 68 of 70 snaps last week.
I'm getting this on Player Profiler, so you can talk to Matt, our buddy Matt, about that one.
For the season.
No, this is for last week in Cleveland.
Really?
Oh, Pro Football Focus, week 6 versus Cleveland. That's Hunter Henry, 68 out of 70 snaps.
Interesting. This is why I don't do stats, man. I just use the sites.
Anyway, he's playing a lot for sure.
Yeah, he's out there.
Yep.
Oh, we got some Mark Andrews update. Shout out to ML and shout out to the chat. You guys worried at all, or wait and see if he practices tomorrow?
Wait and see. If he practices in full tomorrow, I'm in, or even limited probably. But like if you have Mark Andrews and no other tight end, it might be smart to add Isaiah Likely. Isaiah Likely has been playing 80, almost 90% of his snaps at wide receiver when he's out there, and that's basically what Mark Andrews is doing. 85% of his snaps at wide receiver, and he hasn't blocked on a single pass play. So if he's out, Isaiah Likely slides in that role, and honestly, I wouldn't even mess around with anyone else. I would just, if Andrews is in, I'm starting him. If he's out, I'm starting Likely. That's how you should roll with that. Yeah, that's hot, boy.
All right, Dan, let's get back to it.
All right, sounds good. So it's time to move on to the glamour position now, tight end. We've already started.
The main dish of the night.
So let's get to the meat of it. And we were in New York talking about Wandale. Let's keep it New York or New Jersey, whatever it is. With tight end Daniel Bellinger. What are your thoughts, Coop, on Bellinger? Is he working his way into a position of trust with you? Is he a yin or a yang? What do you see in there?
All right, so based on the definition of yin and yang, he would be a yang because of the lack of targets on the team. So he has a path to top 2 target. Guys that fall in the yin category, to me, the biggest indicator of that means that there are 2 guys on the team that I would bet would get more targets than them on any given game. With Bellinger, he might have entered that round. Here's the one curveball with Bellinger that nobody's really talking about, is that they have another tight end that they love setting up in a slot wide receiver role. His name's Tanner Hudson. He's not really getting the targets, but through the first 5 weeks, Bellinger ran 74 routes. Hudson actually ran 88. So he was running more routes than Bellinger. Bellinger lined up at wide receiver 17 times. Hudson, 53. So it was basically like Bellinger's been like the Dallas Goedert and Hudson's been like the Zach Ertz, where he's lining up. Or it's more like Jonnu Smith on the Titans is the inline tight end, which is Bellinger, and Anthony Ferkser during that time would come in and play slot. Bellinger only a 2.7 yard ADOT, Hudson 10.2, right? So this past weekend comes around and I'm like, finally, Bellinger playing a full snap share. He played 60 of 64 snaps. Hudson only played 8 snaps. I'm like, let's go. They're finally going. Wheels up with Bellinger. Then I'm like, you know what? Let me check on what's going on with Hudson. I Google it. He was sick. He missed practice on Thursday, missed practice on Friday. So I need to see one more week. I need to see one more week where they take Hudson and just put him on the back burner and Bellinger plays every snap. If that's the case, Bellinger's up and at him. I want to have Bellinger on my benches on deep leagues, but just keep in mind, they for some reason like this guy Tanner Hudson, and he's just a thorn in his side. So that's where I'm at. One more week I need to see where Tanner Hudson is just gone.
Totally makes sense. Love it. See, that's that Andrew level of extra knowledge that we got here.
Borderline stalker level, where I'm creeping around, what's going on over here, dude? What? How you feeling this morning? And apparently Tanner Hudson wasn't feeling that good, but I mean, we're feeling good. Bellinger played well. He's outplayed him. Even with the fewer routes, everything else, he's outplayed him. Just Tanner Hudson experience. Can you please end it? I'm requesting it, Brian.
Good insight.
If you're watching. Sorry,
Totally
JD.
with you there. Any other thoughts on Bellinger, JD?
No, I just like that he's getting targeted in the red zone with three in the last 2 weeks. I mean, that's what you want from your tight end, especially if they're not getting huge volumes in targets and looks on the field. So he's kind of getting a bit of all of that. He already gave you a top 10 tight end production this past week. Kind of like we talked about with these receivers, it's looking up. There's upside. New York's looking good as an offense, better than expected. So I like Bellinger, especially. I talked about it on one of the shows this week as a nice pivot piece. Like if you're moving more expensive tight end, maybe you're in a rebuild mode or a rental mode. I like getting Bellinger in a pick back, looking next year and further. And you can still sneak some production in this year if you need it.
JD, that's 100% the move, man. Like in Dynasty, now is where these first few games is where we see who's going to be a blocking tight end, who's going to be a pass catching tight end, right? So I'm moving guys up and down all over the place. Bellinger is now up. Cole Turner's up for Washington. Kate Otten up. Like you got to see who's doing what. Last year we did it with like Hunter Long, moved him down. Trey McKitty, moved him down. If you're going to be a blocker, not interested, dude. Not interested in hanging on to Drew Sample and those type players. You got to move those guys up. Like, so keep an eye on the usage early. That's going to determine what path they go on.
Yeah, without a doubt. Speaking of guys on a good path, how about Greg Dulcich? He debuted Monday night. How do you view him? What tight end bucket are you putting him into? What do you got for us on Dulcich?
Love it, man. Unfortunately, he's probably gonna end up in the yin bucket because in my eyes, Cortland Sutton is the number one target, and Jerry Jeudy, as inefficient as he's been, and boy, has he been inefficient, right? Like it's like he only, if it wasn't for DJ Moore, he'd probably be the least efficient wide receiver out there. Like I think his catch rate is like under 50%, but he's still getting those looks, and we need our guy to be top 2 on the team, so he's on that side for now. But, man, talk about the usage you want to see in a first game, right? This guy played over 80% of the snaps, played over 60% of his snaps at wide receiver, didn't pass block on a single pass play. Love it, dude. Like, had a 12-yard average depth of target. Let's go. Like, all the things you want to see. Glorious hair. Like, he's got everything.
I was just going to say, let's face it, with that set of hair, a tight end running down the field with that Goldilocks, like curly hair, you got to love it, man. It's like you get extra points from it.
Hey, fantasy football is supposed to be fun. He 100% gets extra points. So I'm an analyst guy, but you got to have tiebreakers, right? Like you got to have tiebreakers. So that's 100% a tiebreaker for me. Alberto, I tweeted earlier this year that like if I'm a tight end coach and I'm picking one guy to block and one guy to run routes, am I going to pick the 260-pound Alberto, or am I going to pick the 240-pound converted wide receiver Dulcich, right? Like little did I know that I should have been like, if I'm going to pick one guy to ride the bench, it will be Alberto, and one guy to play, it would be Dulcich. But I mean, that's kind of how it's shaking out. So, Alberto, Greg Dulcich, he's a new regime pick. He, is Nathaniel Hackett could put him in that Allen Lazard role, which Allen Lazard maybe not super exciting to everybody, but if I told you that you could start Allen Lazard at tight end, you'd be drooling, right? So we're interested for sure. He's going to be a guy that he had to be added everywhere. I paid up for him the Scott Fish Bowl, so that's where I'm at. Dulcich, we like it.
There we go. So do you think he can kind of force his way into the tight end 1 conversation this year? Like Rust's schedule moving forward, is he one of our top 12 tight ends?
I think he could sneak his way in. I think he could, because the thing is, I always talk about top 2 target. I talk about 90 plus targets, but that's for top 5 tight end, right? Where in a 10 to 12 team league, you really, if you have a top 5, 6 tight end, you have a below average tight end. But all the time, we see these guys as the 3rd target, finish 6, 7, 8. Like we still like Dallas Goedert, don't we? Right? As a tight end 6, tight end 7, tight end 8 in the rankings for the season, right?
Yep.
Safe guy. He could definitely brute force his way in there. We just need the quarterbacks to figure it out, dude. If it's Ripien, I don't know, man. That maybe it's good for him. You never know with the tight end. It's not like every other position, but I gotta see him get some consistent work. But he could do it for sure. With that usage, if that usage stays consistent, that's what he's playing wide receiver, man.
Yeah, I think if that offense somehow manages to click, then he's definitely in that conversation.
He's playing the role Tim Patrick was supposed to play, probably, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great way to put it right there.
Let's go.
I like that. All right. How about Mike Gesicki? Sounds like he could be on the move. And I guess we can throw Alberto is probably on the move too, if they can possibly move him. But Gesicki, sounds like Miami is just looking to get him out of there. Where would you like to see him go first and foremost? Any juicy destinations?
I gotta say props to you guys, because last time I was on this show, you guys were the ones that brought him up as like a, hey, buy low for Dynasty. right? As like, let's see, he's a talented guy. Whoever pays him is going to pay him to play wide receiver, right? So you guys brought that up, and now the trade's coming up. You know, you guys might be right on that, where anybody that bought low, you know, you had to deal with a little bit of dark times, some sad times. But if he's on the move, if you're trading for this player, you're trading for him to use him, and you're trading for him to use him how he should be used, the way he was used last year, right? New coach McDaniel doesn't like it. That's fine. You know what I mean? Like, move him. Because, you know, if he doesn't get traded, I don't like him at all. I don't care they scored 2 touchdowns last week. If you're going to split snaps at slot with Trent Sherfield while a different player plays tight end, Durham Smythe, I can't use that. You know what I mean? Like, this week, if anything, was a showcase where he scored the 2 touchdowns and they were like, great, let's move him now, right? But, you know, I can't trust him unless he does get moved. If he does get moved, I want him to go anywhere where he can be a top 2 target on the team. Bonus points if that's a team that has a good quarterback. First name that jumps out to me would be Green Bay. Like, if he could go there and just become like the big slot player there. I know people kind of like Tunyon or whatever, but he's better than Tunyon. So if he could go to a team like that, I would love it. If you know, but at literally any spot, like if he just were to go to, I mean, the Texans or the Colts or a team that just would say, hey, forget all these other tight ends, it's our guy now, then I would love that. I don't know. Do you guys have any spots in mind that you were kind of eyeballing as like a nice spot for him?
Yeah, I'd love to see him go to the Colts, but you know, I would just worry that he would become one of 4 or 5 tight ends there.
Send him to Brady.
Yeah,
send him to Brady.
See, now you're talking, dude. Now you're talking, because if Cade Otton is going to play 74 of 79 snaps like he did in Week 5, Mike Gesicki playing that slot role, yeah, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
yep.
Give me that.
Yeah,
you can probably keep his same apartment. You know, it's not that far.
Right. And I think Buffalo and the Jets would probably potentially want him. I'm just not sure that Miami would be willing to trade him to those teams. Just, you know, inside the division.
Dan, let's get another quick question. We talked about Kittle last night. I was asking. Oh man, I'm blanking. Dan, we've done too many shows. Who did we have on yesterday? We or was it 2 days ago actually?
Yeah, it's you talking about we had Josh Larkey.
Oh my God, Josh Larkey! Wow, how can I forget Josh? Jeez, we're literally putting a lot of shows. I can't even keep track of who we had when. But yeah, when we had Larkey on, we asked him about Kittle just because we finally saw him produce this week with 10 targets. How do you feel about Kittle moving forward? Is this a one-off, or is this kind of what we should expect moving forward? And is he kind of back in that top 3 tight ends, top 5 at least?
Larky's a sharp dude, man, for sure. So hopefully he agrees. But if he doesn't, I don't care, because I've done my homework on this topic. So, but shout out Larky, man, great dude. Check out, if you haven't checked out his website. I'm not even affiliated with these guys at all. That website they have, 33rd Team, The Edge, it's called. It's fun to tinker around because you can see how guys play against different defenses. You know, versus zone, versus man, versus one-eye safeties, versus zero coverage. It's pretty wild, dude. I don't even know how they're doing that, and it's free. So cool website. Free plug for you, Larky. There you go. But anyway, George Kittle, the thing is, he's a unicorn. He's one of the few tight ends that could block on 15% of his pass plays and still finish top 5, which he did in 2019. Nobody else does that. Prime Gronk in like 2010 was like the last time you saw something like that, right? So this guy already unicorn mode with the blocking. So I didn't care as much about the blocking, but this year he wasn't even blocking, even with Trent Williams out, any more than usual. It was 4 snaps at the 4 pass blocking snaps at the most, which they were throwing so little that translated to like 10%. But I don't care about 3 or 4. I care about you blocking for 7, 8, 9 plays. That's what really hurts you, right? So for me, I wasn't that worried about the amount of pass blocking he was doing. And this week we saw it where he played every snap but 1 and only pass blocked 1 time, and he went off. So George Kittle is a guy that I'm always going to put in my lineup. And the big part of why he can be so successful is that nobody else truly has big chunk plays the way he does. Over the last 5 years, he has 12 40-plus yard plays. Travis Kelce has 10. Nobody else even has 5. I think Gerald Everett and Evan Ingram have 5, and they've both been in the league for 5 years as well. So they're there for the whole span, right? And when you look at Kittle's, they aren't built like Kelce's either. Like Kelce has like a 42-yard chunk play. Kittle has these plays that are like 76 yards, 75 yards, 80 yards. Kittle has big games coming, and not just talking about 10 targets this week. Like, he is going to break off big plays. So if you have Kittle,
can't handle the truth.
that's right, dude. That's right. If you have Kittle, get him in your lineup every week. If you can trade for him before people remember how good he is, I would do it now.
Yeah, I think that's a move.
Yeah, for sure. I think this last week might have slammed that window shut a little bit.
I know, dude. I was tweeting it out. I sent the tweets, dude. If you're following me on Twitter, you got no excuse because I was ranking him third.
You were.
I was tweeting it out, and then here you go, 10 targets. Boom.
I think it does, but because it's just the 1 week right now, I think you might still get those guys that are trying to sell high, off that one-off week. They think it's a one-off, or they're just tired of Kittle. But yeah, the window was definitely prior to that week.
Also, shout out Kev Wheeler at the 33rd team. I mean, they got Wheeler over there. They got
Larky.
Jordan Vanek over there, who I like. Real cool dude. So they're doing good stuff over there. Fun stuff. Let me know what kind of shows you guys got going. I'll pop in and promote your stuff, dude, for sure. So good stuff going on over there. Keep it free, all right?
There we go. All right, let's get a couple quick hitters in here before you got to go, Coop. Let's talk Noah Fant. Is he starting to separate himself from the tight end pack in Seattle? I mean, the one thing I like about Seattle is, other than the tight ends, it's very consolidated usage over there, and it's a hot offense. Do you think that we're starting to get anywhere on Fant, or is that just an illusion?
You're so right on that situation, right? Like that, it would be very similar to what you see in Seattle. Sorry, what you see in San Francisco, where you have the two wide receivers and Kittle, and then they use Kyle Juszczyk so much that you don't have to worry about a third wide receiver stepping on those toes. If the Seahawks, if you could take Disley and Fant and just combine them into one player, it'd be a great tight end, right? It'd easily be a tight end one. The problem is they split those snaps, man. 44 for Disley last week, 43 for Fant. Fant ran 25 routes, only 18 for Disley, but if you're going to run 41 pass plays, I need to. What are you thinking, Dan? A team runs 41 pass plays. How many routes do you want to see your tight end running? How many are you comfortable with?
I mean, I want to see him out there for at least 33, 34.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You got to run 75%, somewhere in that range. So they ran 41 dropbacks. Fant only ran 25 routes. It's just, it's not quite, man. Disley, if he would go away, then we move Fant right up. For time being, I can't do it.
Fair enough.
DFS dart throw.
Yep, that's good. I like that. How about for those people who are struggling at tight end this week? I know you put it out there on your Twitter, but for people listening to the show, who do you got available this week that could really, somebody could pick up, put them in their lineup, and feel pretty good about it?
I'll give you the time-sensitive one first. No Michael Thomas, no Jarvis Landry, no Adam Trotman. Juwan Johnson's running the routes. He's a converted wide receiver. He played wide receiver before. He runs most of his routes from wide receiver at like 75%. You got to get him in there if you can. If you're struggling, if you're Dallas Goedert and you were sleeping, got to get him in there. The other ones, we already mentioned it. TiGHT. I mean, when Cameron Brate's out, he's the guy. Last week, Cameron Brate got hurt in the fourth quarter. Shout out Scott Fish, came on the morning show and actually threw this stat out there that had 2 catches over 20 yards just in that fourth quarter when he was out. So that's how they roll. And then Cole Turner, another guy I like. Logan Thomas probably out. John Bates dealing with a hamstring injury. Even with Bates in there, I just like Cole Turner's a better athlete, 100%. So if they ran the same number of routes, I'd rather have Turner. If you're really up against it in some of these deep leagues, I go Turner. But you should be able to get a TiGHT or a Juwan Johnson in there. And again, these guys are more, to me, 1 week type sneaky plays than they are long-term plays. If you can get a long-term play in there, like an Evan Ingram or something, and start him and keep him, then do that. But if you just need 1 week, or if you're playing the DFS showdown slate, Juwan Johnson's the guy.
You gonna play Johnson or Dulcich?
So I got to go Johnson here, just because Dulcich, not quite a full snap share, and also it's not like he has a chance to be the number 1 target on the team the way Juwan does tonight. Because Olave's been banged up. I mean, Keith Kirkwood. I mean, come on, or like Traquan Smith. I don't know, right? Like, I'd put up Juwan against Marquez Callaway any day before I try and go Dulcich against Judy or something.
What about Bellinger, since we've been talking about him?
I need to see the Hudson situation first. I don't trust Bellinger at all. Man, you look at some of these games, man. He's the exact the exact picture of a guy that they run 40 pass plays, he runs 20 routes. Besides last week, where Tanner Hudson was like throwing up and stuff.
How do you feel about Otten versus Bellinger?
Who is it?
Kate Otten versus.
It's got to be Otten, no?
I would start on. Yep, JD, you got it, man.
Same.
74 or 79 snaps. He ran 51 routes. Like, I mean, geez. Like, you can't predict him to throw over 50 times, but like when they threw over 50 times, he ran 50 routes. He must have been gassed. Like,
That's a good point, definitely. All right, how about tonight's game? What are you betting on happening tonight? Other than you've already said you're taking the over on any Juwan Johnson props.
Yeah, dude, it's like 20-something yards. Smash that. I'm not one thing I'm not doing. I'm not betting on who's going to win the game. Like, people always feel like they have to bet one side or the other. I'll tell you right now, don't make me choose. I think these teams are super weird. I went to a my bachelor party. We were in Arizona. I went to Cardinals Rams game. Weirdest football game I've ever seen. Crowd was weird. Stadium, like, just everything was weird. So I don't know, man. 2.5 point spread in Arizona. I have no idea. There'll probably be a lot of Saints fans there. Like, that was the experience that I had when I was out there. But if you're looking for, if you're somebody that likes to take $5 and put it on like something that's not going to happen, but it could happen, $10, put it on JP Holtz to score the first touchdown today. Because hey, no laughing. Laughing. You guys are.
Right.
Hey, take it back.
Out there.
Take back those chuckles, dude.
All right.
$10. Yeah, it's plus 9,500 odds, right?
Oh.
$10 wins you $950. $100 wins you 10 grand, basically. And when Adam Trotman went out, it was, they could have picked Nick Van Nett or JP Holtz. JP Holtz was the guy in the game. He came in, played in line. Juwan Johnson's not going to put his hand in the dirt. So, could just be a play where Taysom Hill or Andy Dalton's out there and they sneak out the blocking tight end. Seen it a million times. And you win $1,000 on that $10 bet. So I'm just saying. It's probably not going to happen. I already said that, but that's a deep one. That's a sneaky one.
I like that one. I am taking back my chuckles.
Now you're allowed. You could definitely laugh. I said JP Holtz is going to score a touchdown. You could definitely laugh.
That is pretty good though. On the surface, it's not one you would think of for sure.
Nah, yeah, it's one of those ones you throw it at it, and if it happens, you flip the coffee table, go crazy. If it doesn't happen, you say, you know what? People buy scratch tickets all the time. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's exactly it.
I like Rondell Moore over 48.5 yards receiving. I don't mind that one.
Robbie Anderson's not going to show up and play 75% of the snaps. Rondell Moore's going to be out there rocking.
What do you think on Traquan Smith revenge game over under 2.5 receptions?
Revenge game 2.5. That is, I mean, oh my God, that is.
What is it? What do you bet on Traquan?
He caught a touchdown, didn't he? Didn't he catch a touchdown last week?
He did, dude.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it. Now you got me thinking about it. I don't know. I can't do that.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny.
I'm not touching that one either.
No.
Nothing to do with Traquan anymore. I've sworn him off.
You got anything, Dan? You got anything wild? I mean, I already set the bar so out there. You could say anything you want now. Right? I said Jake first touchdown.
The Juwan one is the only one I really, really like. But I think JD's onto something with Rondale too.
Yeah, yeah, I like that.
I'll endorse both of those, and of course, what's his name again?
JP Holtz.
JP
Yeah,
Holtz.
I feel bad for Greg Dortch, man. Talk about they must have made it clear up front that was Rondell's job, right? Because I mean, holy cow, he went from playing every snap to playing 2, 4. Right. Yeah, but I mean that's the way it goes.
Yep.
Maybe he's got to request a trade.
Everybody's doing it, right?
Like zero leverage.
Greg Dortch for Elijah Moore straight up. Who says no?
Yeah.
There we go. I would take it.
Mike Kazecki.
Guys, smash the like, smash the subscribe. You guys have been awesome in the chat. We love when you guys hang with us. Send your questions. I'm trying to get as many as I can out to Coop and to Dan, but there's too many, man. They're just being thrown all over the place. Dan, if you catch one we haven't thrown on there yet, please do. Guys, remember to check out myffpc.com. Right now you can play a weekly contest, $35 buy-in, $200 buy-in, 2 levels. It's fun as you know what. your team's out week 7, maybe you're not, contending. You're in dynasty, you're having fun, making some trades. You can still go out there and choose a winning lineup on the FFPC. So go check it out. There's a link in the bottom. You can get a sign-up bonus if you're not already signed up to the site, and it's just a little something, fun to add. There it is, to your weekly NFL fantasy fun. Anything to add, Dan? Anything we haven't picked Coop about, especially about these tight ends?
No, I think we got it pretty much all in there, and I know Coop's got to blast out of here.
I know he's got to go.
So so we appreciate you spending the time with us.
We'd be remiss if we didn't mention Evan Engram. 16 targets last 2 weeks, Dan.
Yes.
Hey, I don't know. Let's keep it on the low. We need a touchdown. Let's get a touchdown going. But hey, once he scores that first touchdown, people are gonna wake up and be like, 10 targets, 6 targets.
He
played in the Hurricane.
I got a little down when he had a couple down games, but he
played Derwin James, tough matchup. Then there was a Hurricane game.
Right.
I'm willing to make excuses for our boy.
Dan doesn't waste time, man. He's like Eric, right? Eric Shiva. Like you don't produce your guy, man. You're gone next week. That's it.
Bringing you right back.
I'm not out that quick on Evan. I was just having a small crisis of faith, but it wasn't big enough to drop him or anything.
That's our baby, dude. Someday it was a hurricane, man. You were out in the rain, on your knees in the street in the rain, asking for a sign.
Before I forget, how about my boy Tanyan right now? How about my boy Tanyan, top 10 tight end right now?
You're right, brother. Hey, and the he's getting ramped up. I was off him until this week. I moved him way up this week because his routes per dropback was like 40-50% this week, man. Up 70%, man. And I think that's not going to change. So you got to get him in there, Tanyan. He's solid.
Yeah, awesome. Especially with Cobb out, it just puts more pressure.
All right, Coop, remind the peeps where they can find you and all your goodness before we close this bad boy out.
Yeah, find me on Twitter right here at Coupe Fiasco. That's where all my stuff is. If you follow me there, can't miss it. I tweet everything out. I post it all on Reddit. It'll all be there. And if you like hanging out, talking a little trash, enjoy, we talk about everything every morning, 3 hours, 7 to 10 a.m. on the Better Sports Network, spelled BETTOR, Better Sports, or you can just go on the Front Yard Fantasy YouTube. We're hanging out every day. Toronto Dave's in there, whenever he can, but most mornings he's in there hanging out. We have a ton of people in the chat. We have a blast, man, and we give stuff away all the time. We've given away autographed Antonio Gates jersey, autographed Ben Coates jersey, autographed Calvin Johnson, autographed Devontae Adams Raiders jersey. We're just giving stuff away. It's wild. So come chill.
Nice,
you heard
guys.
the man. Get some free stuff. Show up.
Go check that out. And make sure you check out our shows, guys. This week, Billy Muzio was on one-on-one with Theo. We had Josh Larkey, like we talked about, on last night. Theo did his waiver wire show. So if your waiver wires haven't gone yet, you can still get some tips from Theo. And we had Vlad Sedler on as well on Monday. Enjoy the game tonight, guys. Hopefully, you start off your week 7 with some nice points if you play some of these guys. And if you bet, hope you hit big. We'll check you all later.
Go district, the Pope listens. Dynasty, our religion, for the blokes missing. On all of these trades, on all of these plays, on all of these grades. By the end of the day, y'all getting played. So, what you gonna do next? Try to fill up that flex? Send the homie a text. That trash offer's the best. You try to make it complex, then they text you back. Now all of a sudden they don't make any sense. Broaden your horizons, boy. Dynasty's not for the Simons, boy. These trades not for consignment, boy. Respect your opponent, y'all some piranhas, boy. This my advice, from me to you. Open up your cute little podcast queue. Search up GOAT District, my dude. Pop it in your ear, man, y'all know what to do. It's the... And I always be traded. And I always be traded. And I always be trading. Y'all try to betray them, but first you gotta bait them. Fish.
What a guy. He hung out, even though he's got to go, he hung out.
I do gotta go. Yeah, but I couldn't bounce.
You're awesome, dude. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, boys. Pull me back in the queue. All right, let's go.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Awesome. show,
100%.
man.
Cheers, guys. Catch you.
Good luck, man.
Later.
Later.